Hello, it's Debbie Gilbert here from the Business Awards Show, and I'm also the founder of the Best Business Women Awards. And today I'm delighted to be joined by Julie Kaur, who was our Best Consumer Businesswoman 2024 at the Best Business Women Awards. But she has won so many awards for her business. She has an independent retail store in Telford, and she's also a real pillar of her community. So we're going to be talking today about Julie's business journey and about all the stuff that she does in Telford, and some tips and hints about how you could get your business more involved in your local community. So welcome, Julie.
Thank you.
Hello.
Hello.
Oh, it's lovely to see you again, because I haven't seen you since the awards night where you did a little bit of a dance on the dance floor when you went up to get your award. It's on our little video. So
it was lovely.
Oh, it was lovely to see you. So let's start off by talking about 35 years ago, Julie. You set up your little convenience store in Telford, and what made you decide to do that?
So, if I'm being honest, first of all, thank you once again for the award. It was a real honour to be there and just to be part of all these lovely ladies that really welcomed you into the awards. It's the first women's award I'd been to, and I would rate it. So it was really, really good. Thank you for that. Right, I started my journey as an 18-year-old marrying my husband. So I was originally from Leicester, and we got married, and it was an arranged marriage. So I had to move to Telford because that's the way the Indian tradition is. It's wherever the gentleman's from. But my husband ran the store with his parents and his brothers. And I just happened to come and work alongside him in the store. And then we just grew. It was just a general store with videos back then. But before that, they used to have a butcher's counter. I'm glad that was gone before I came, because I don't really want any meat in there. So it was just a convenience store. And it's quite interesting now, reflecting back, because we'd met, got married, gone on our honeymoon, and then I came to the shop.
Wow.
So it was quite interesting. And I walked in, and like, you had two sections, and he'd got plans to upgrade it. So the following year, we'd ripped it all out, done an extension, and business was good, very good. But videos, again, VHSs were good. And then slowly the brothers moved on to their own stores, and we kept this one. But then trade dipped because VHSs weren't going.
No.
And DVDs came out. So we got DVDs, but again, there was a lot of damage with DVDs. They damaged quicker. And then it became Jules Convenience 25 years ago in January. But in between that, I had 3 children under 5. So I was very busy. So I didn't take the forefront of the shop as much as my husband did, because I was bringing up 3 children. I was on the PTA at the school, governor at the school. And then I also used to I went along to the Asian Moms group. So I'd come from GCSE schooling to getting married, having 3 children, running this business alongside my husband, who was probably the more dominated one in the store. And then I did a few courses, just food hygiene, keeping up with the kids with their maths and English, because that changed a lot. And then when the store became Jules Convenience, the kids were a little bit bigger. They went off to secondary, and I started taking the forefront of like making sure it was merchandised well, labelled well. So 25 years it's been Jules. And then trade quietened down about 12 years off the top of my head, because videos went down, other stores were opening in the area, Lidl opened down the road, Tesco Express opened. So then we got an off licensing.
Right.
So once the off license came in, again, that picked up a bit of trade. We had the road outside the shop done and had it re-tarmacked and put car park. So as a business owner, you have to stand outside and say, why am I going into that shop? And if your car tires are going to get blown by the potholes, then you're not going to come back, no matter how good the shopkeeper is. So we did that. We did the with the help of the council, because it was a private road, and then all the other shops paid as well. And then when the shop went back down again, it dipped again, and we managed to get the lottery in. So once we got the lottery, so we kept adding to this umbrella, if you like, of the store. And then we also had in 1992 the paper shop next door. We bought the paper shop, but we'd sublet it because we wanted to bring our children up. That was always our priority, to be honest. And then 10 years ago, there wasn't enough trade for both stores. So we negotiated and we bought the newspapers in here as well, and have sublet that as a barber's.
Oh, good.
So everything's under one roof. But again, we've built such a community in the area. Like the elderly ladies would take my kids if I was busy in the shop to bake cakes at their house, and then one would take them on the bus and go into town, and and the kids have had a great upbringing because they've seen elderly people that I wasn't fortunate to have in my life growing up. So they've had the best of both, and they've had quite a multicultural upbringing by going to a good school that made them do Duke of Edinburgh Gold as well. So on the whole, all three of my children have done that, but they've also worked in the shop as well. So we've had no staff until about 3 years ago.
Oh, wow. So you manned it yourselves. Real
So
traditional family business then, really, the two of you doing it and working really hard. And do you think it's been good for your children to see that work ethic that you've both got?
yeah, really important, because even though we had the store, my husband had a portfolio of property, so he's been a property developer alongside the store. So the girls would be behind the counter with me at a weekend, and the lad or the older daughter would go and clear out some of the houses, which gave them McDonald's on a Sunday, which was fantastic. So the kids have really had a good grounding, and I'm really pleased with that, because they went to a private school, which was 8:30 till 6 every day, long school holidays, but they were going to school with quite luxury kids, as I called them, because they had PlayStations and they had TVs in their rooms, whereas ours didn't. And in the summer holidays, the kids knew they had to work here for 6 weeks. So me and Dad could go on holiday and they had to stay here with one of my cousins or something. So yeah, no, the kids are very grounded. I'm very fortunate.
And so during your time as a retailer, you've immersed yourself into the Retail Association, haven't you? Talk a little bit about that.
So back in the day, you had like field sales teams that came in and sold you Walkers on offer, or they sold you Cadbury's, and they'd give you the up-to-date POS for your shelves. But the last probably 3 years, I've been fortunate to go to roundtable events with the suppliers, tell them about the promotions. I get first-hand promotion details, how well one promotion's gone, how one product hasn't gone well. And attending those has allowed me as a person to network with other retailers that are chopping and change with the current situation we're in as retailers. So it's been a good networking tool. But what's been really good is that the suppliers at the top level want to work with the independent retailers.
Right, okay. So the Independent Retail Association has been a bit of a backbone for you then, really.
Yeah, I would say so, because during COVID, I think I felt they really understood how much, we put out there and put our lives at risk, really, to make sure the community was served, but alongside that, trying to get goods from the cash and carries and getting just getting it out there to people, because it was a really hard 18 months, 2 years, really, because everybody was so vulnerable and we'd never come across it. We had no training on how to deal with the public, whereas the big stores had something in place. They had the PPI. We didn't get any of that. So we were like supporting each other as local retailers and learning off each other. So yeah, I mean, suppliers, to be fair, have been really good lately. I can't fault them.
So let's talk a bit about awards, because you've won a number of retail awards, and obviously the Best Businesswomen Awards that you mentioned at the start was the first female-only awards that you'd entered. So how have awards really kind of played a role in your business development?
I do feel any award, being shortlisted and having your name on that screen is that recognition that, yes, you are doing a good job and other people in the room know you. They can relate to you on the screen. And just being shortlisted to me is good. I'm really happy because it's like people will come over and say, oh, well done, good luck. And even at the end, they'll say, oh, it doesn't matter, but, you know, we saw your criteria and you do amazing work. So the judges, I think that's really important. And then the suppliers, because they're judging it on the day of whichever award they're judging. So, yeah, I think it's been really good and it's really raised the profile of the store. You know, Telford, I'm one of the female retailers that represents Telford on the retail sector, if you like, at the awards level.
Which is brilliant. And I think with the current state of, you know, retail, let's make no bones about how online has really smashed a hole in it. I mean, you've got that challenge. You've also got the challenge of the big superstores. And so I think where you've stood out and been different is that you've made yourself almost like a community hub, haven't you? And integrated yourself into the community and done lots of charity work and things. So talk a bit about that.
So, Debbie, I've got to say, I was very fortunate at 18-year-old when I came in that people actually just took to me, which was really nice because I'd never been in the retail sector.
Right.
So, I mean, even though my customer service skills were good, they probably weren't as good as they are now. And it was really nice that the elderly in the area all had allotments, and that, you know, somebody would bring me tomatoes and somebody would bring me strawberries, and, you know, there was only so much, and it used to look like a greenhouse in our back office. And my husband would say, he says, where's all this come from? Because they've never had anything. And then even when my children were born, it was really nice that everybody wanted to, well, not everybody, the elderly wanted to knit cardigans and shawls.
That's lovely.
And I felt that the community had supported me bringing up my children and helping me learn and grow as an adult, that I felt that it was time to give back. And a very close friend of mine had breast cancer 18 years ago. And from the school, we said we'd go and do the Race for Life. So that was my first original race and maybe my fundraising. Whereas if people came into the store and were fundraising, we'd give them a box of roses, or we'd get, you know, it was easier. And then when we went round to do the race, there was about 15 of us that went. And as I walked round, I could see, hang on a minute, I could raise more. I could do a lot more. And a lot of the customers in the store said, why didn't you ask me for money? And that initial of asking somebody for money is quite difficult. You know, it's quite a challenge. And I said, oh, right. And then I did the midnight moonwalk with the Seven Hospice, and I just put the tin on the counter, and people were so generous. And then we took a team up to do it the following year. So there was about 20 of us that went up. And it just grew from there. You know, people came in and said, what are you doing next? And what are you doing next? And I'm like, I've only got 2 legs. I can't do everything. So it kind of grew. And then I don't know how I got into the raffles, and I started doing raffles in store. And you'd raise £50 and then it went to £100. And I'm very fortunate that we get 1,000 quite quickly now, because some people don't want raffle tickets, but because you announce what you do and you make sure everybody knows, there's gentlemen that will just give me £60, or they're like, we know it's going to go to a good cause. So it's really nice. And I'm really humble about the way people have really like took to me and respected me.
Yeah, and I think you've gained support because you're supportive of others. And I think as a small business and a retail business that relies on footfall, all of this is just so important, isn't it?
Oh, really important. And I mean, as you grow as a retailer, I know the footfall's difficult to get through the door, but getting those links with the local schools and offering work experience, that's crucial, because we had 6 children last year for work experience. And there was a couple that were Senko. There was one that was not very confident at all, that wouldn't speak. And the parents have been using the store and thanking us because they'd never seen their child like communicate. So if we were aware of something, we would like say, can you just pack this bag for the lady? And then we would say, oh, Mrs. Smart, could you just say hello to whoever, one of the kids? And the regulars would always make a fuss of these kids and say, how many days are you enjoying it? And that would mean the child would have to speak. It's not just about being good on the till when you come for work experience. It's about making sure you know about dates and making sure that the milk needs replenishing, and going in the back and pulling stock out, unloading the pallets and speaking to customers. So cleaning, we make sure they have a day of cleaning.
Oh, that's amazing. I didn't realize you were doing that as well.
Yeah.
So then you've kind of dovetailed into sort of local politics now as well, haven't you? So talk a bit about that.
Somebody said to me, how many hours are in your day? I said, no, I'm not sure. And so 2023, I think, off the top, 23, I stood as independent because the local residents had a residents association, so I was part of that, and they said, can you stand independent? And I thought, yeah, okay. And I can't say I knew enough about politics to join a party. And I stood independent, but then my dad sadly got taken ill with cancer, so my priorities were him, not campaigning. So even though I left my name in there and didn't want to pull out, I still got the highest independent votes, even though I didn't win. And then my dad passed away in May, and then I went and did his ashes. And that year I just sat there, and you've got quite a void because both parents have gone, children have left home. And I sat there, and I don't know what made me go on the website, and I did a little bit of homework on my area. And this is a Labour area, so why am I independent? So then I joined the Labour Party as a member. Then a position came up, and the parish asked me to stand for Labour, and they were really supportive, going out leaflet dropping, and I got that position in July. And I thought, actually, it's a good stepping stone. I can learn for 2 years, and then then another position came. No, then I got the position again in November, but on that same date, I had stood for chair of Age UK, Shropshire, Telford and Wrekin. It was like, how do I now say to Age UK, I can't do it? So I liaised with the borough council. I said, look, if I take this role and I get it, I am committed to their Age UK, Shropshire, Telford and Wrekin, because it's conflict of interest. And I'm not going to not take that role. So I got both positions on the same day, which was the 14th of November.
Wow. So what's on, the plans for that? What are you hoping to achieve by doing that?
So with Age UK, I want to see what services I can bring here locally, and then also the diversity that it needs addressing, because I feel that there's that many services that Age UK offer that the ethnic minority are no wiser. So I want to promote that. And then alongside with the council, I would like to see how they operate and how they're going to be supporting smaller businesses, and how they're going to put more police on the road with the retail crime going on. So I'm quite pleased that I've gone for the role, even though I do feel there's a lot of learning to do. So last Friday, I did go to the West Midlands Gala Labour Party dinner, and that was very interesting. And it was nice to see different Labour Party members that came and supported you when we were doing the campaigning. But yeah, there's a lot of learning in politics to do, but I think you can't be good at everything, but you've got a field and you're good in your field. So I'm happy to just work on my field. But with that, Debbie, what it's allowed me to do is I work very closely with the school trust for what was it, education welfare, because they bring their school choir every year at Christmas. So it's a learning community trust, so they have some children that are deprived and can't afford to go to school, and as a councillor I get a pride fund, which I can spend on, but that people come to me for grants, basically. And I'm really pleased that I've supported a grant for 40 school bus passes for children to get to school.
Oh, that's amazing.
So that has really been good. I mean, we've done benches because there's 3 of us on the borough, so we work collectively. But that for me, getting the attendance upskilled, and then we also work with the local football team to see if they need drinks, and we took probably 30 of the local residents around here that said they wanted to come to the hospitality at the football ground on the 1st of February. So it's that link, and it was nice because the leader of the council was there. He came over and spoke to them all, and yeah, no, it's good, and I think that contact needed to be made.
Definitely. And I can see how this is a survival tactic as well for a small business, isn't it? Is integration, getting involved and doing more in the community. So, I mean, if anyone's listening to the podcast and they're struggling as a small business, would you say that is a really good way of trying to help get more support for your business?
As a small business, and I'm fortunate that I'm doing okay, shall we say. And I've really been good at reaching out to different organisations. And I feel we don't do that enough as independent retailers. But getting in touch with your local council is crucial, because they don't know what your problem is. And unless you speak to them and say, I need support with this. I mean, for instance, the CCTV cameras need upgrading. So I'm in talks with trying to get something together that we can upgrade our CCTV. And if the council can support us with a bit of funding or a grant, that will help them as well. But at the same time, it will help the police, because if you've got retail crime, you've got better CCTV to get the culprit, really. So I'm trying to liaise with that motion to see if I can take that forward, because I think that's important. And even having more community support officers around our areas in the winter months, because people have got big jackets on. You know, in these sort of months, you can say, can you keep your hood off? Because that is a policy here that I haven't put on the door, but we just say, hello, can you just take, you know, just point at their head, so you're not making it verbal in front of everybody. But I just think with the winter months, we will need the support and extra lighting around the shops. So I will be pushing for that, and I'll be saying to the retailers, look, bring them to me locally. And I want to push, when I sit on a round table event, can you all, this is my result, can you get a result?
Yeah, I think that's brilliant, because I'm guessing crime is still a real big issue for you.
Crime, I'm very fortunate that crime has been I haven't really had to have it here. I haven't had any crime here.
Oh,
shoplifting has been an issue. So it is kind of crime. I look at it as crime. I look at it is that we've not been assaulted or anything.
no. Yeah.
Right. So
you've got theft, and then you've got physical crime. Yeah.
Yeah. So on the theft side, with the price increase of goods, I mean, like milk is now £2.
I know.
You know, a tin of custard, a Devonshire custard is £1.95. Well, that used to be 59p. You know, if that's the inflation, people are tempted to steal because they haven't got any choice, really. But why are they stealing? They shouldn't be stealing, because there's that many food to go projects going on outside. There's Man in Place, there's homeless projects, there's interfaith. So really, I feel they should be tapping into those. But somebody pinches in my store, that's going to affect my income. And because my overheads are very sensible, because we're a smaller business with less staff, less outgoings, we are not going to miss it as much as a bigger convenience store that's got 8 staff. And you've got them to pay alongside the theft that's going on, but you're told you shouldn't stand against the criminal.
Right. What are you told to do?
You just let them walk out, and that's been, yeah, and they will not prosecute unless it's over £200. So
Wow, I didn't know that.
yeah. So recently, that's really been winding us up, because they can pinch, I don't know, corned beef's like £4. So they nick 5 tins of those. That's like £35 going out your store. But if we report it and give that CCTV, that's not just my time. That's me hanging around and a police presence looking at my CCTV, which makes my store look not very good in the local area. And then they can't do anything because their hands are tied, because it's not over £200. And we can't see his face properly or her face properly.
So when was that brought in as a sort of a guideline for prosecution then?
I'd say I heard about it the last probably 3 or 4 months.
Really?
That's what we're pushing for. Yeah. We're like, no. And they don't do anything. The police really are not doing anything. And, you know, Scotland, I've had, because we're on a WhatsApp group, and Scotland, there's a gentleman that is trying to stop these young youths from coming into the store and pinching, and he's gone outside to tell them to move away. And the video shows you clearly there's 8 of them, and they've gone in and out the store and helped themselves. And I think that's disgusting, because why would another youngster who wants to start their own business, because it puts you off. It's bad. It's really bad. And I'm lucky because we've been established for a long time, and the community know me. And if I'm got one member of staff down, because we try and have 2 in the evenings, in the day we can manage. But if I'm on my own in the evening and it's dark, I've got about 8 volunteers that are semi-retired that will come and stand with me and lock up with me.
Oh, that's really lovely. And I think because you're well respected in the community as well, that probably is a bit of a deterrent in a way.
Yeah, they wouldn't dare. They just know I know everybody.
I mean, how much money do you think you lose to shoplifting every year?
I don't know. I can't say I've ever put, I mean, we have our profit and losses, but I would say ours is a very minor. There might be the short dated here and there. So that's, again, put as a loss. But we are on probably about the 5%, if that. I wouldn't say any higher.
Yeah, and that's good really, that it's not, you know, you speak to some people who yeah, they're really struggling because it's constant. I mean, you know, people just walking in, like you said, taking stuff and walking out with it.
I mean, you look at steak. If you sell steak, I mean, that's like £12. You take 3 of those.
A lot of money.
Yeah, and I don't want to be on the television for the wrong reasons, because I don't feel it promotes my store.
No.
So if I have a retail problem issue in-house, I will deal with it the best possible way. I won't be putting it on any YouTube or anything, because I want it dealt with in-house. I'll make an example of it to the retail fellows, because I feel they need to know.
Yeah.
But I would also tell them a solution.
So being part of the retail consortium that you're in, that gives you the opportunity to talk about the challenges that you're dealing with and what other people are dealing with. And I guess you come up with ideas of shared practice between you all, of things that you can be doing.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, we all come together. We're all united. And last week we had a Mondelez meeting, and again it was about price, theft, sustainability. And it was quite interesting, because a few of the retailers were saying it's going to get pinched if it's a bit dearer, the chocolate. And I was sitting there listening, and I thought, no, if somebody's coming to steal something, they're going to steal it. It doesn't matter about the price.
Yeah.
And, you know, and again, with sustainability, I feel at my level of my job is to sell. And if my sustainability is getting my cardboard and plastic recycled, so that's me done, and having energy efficient lighting. So for Mondelez, it's their job to put the sustainability, but I don't want my customers coming in and reading the back of the packet and putting 3 bars in their pocket.
No.
So I want them in and out. So it's quite good. But I do find it's the mid-range that are actually shoplifting more now. It's the mid-age group, probably 35 plus.
Right, okay, it's
Because the
interesting.
youngsters have got the youngsters are doing all right, I feel. Especially in my area, they've got money, they're college kids, there's workers. And to be fair, we're very fortunate because we are a community hub and they think twice, and they can owe me 50p, they can owe me 70p.
Yeah, exactly. If they don't have enough money in their
Yeah,
purse.
you've got that leeway, if you like, rather than the big stores. If you can't afford it, you're going to pinch it.
Yeah, yeah. And it's just another challenge that you have to deal with. Are there any other challenges that you're dealing with on a day-to-day basis?
What's really going to affect us is April, when the wage increase comes up
Yes.
and the
Yeah,
national insurance. That'll be quite a tough one, because and the sick, they can go on sick and you've got to pay straight away.
I
So
know.
that there's no, so it's
Mm.
I have a very family orientated store, so I'm lucky that if my son's sick, then I'll go in, or my husband will go in, or his wife will go in. But whereas other people, when it's a 2-man band and 8 staff and 3 phoning sick, that and you've got to pay them and you've got to get more staff, you're paying double money, really, aren't you?
Yeah.
So yeah, that is going to have an effect, a big effect.
Mm.
But again, energy prices aren't coming down, so I do feel we're all in the same boat as retailers, independent retailers.
Yes. It's very, very hard. I know that. You only have to walk down any high street now to see all the empty shops to really see how tough it is for people to keep going.
It's tough, but then I find that a lot of people just come out. I mean, since COVID, we've really had a lot of loyalty
Mm.
because we were loyal to them, whereas we could control what we were selling. So
Mm.
if you came into the shop, Debbie, and took 6 plain flour off there, I would say, 1 minute, do you really need all 6? Because I wanted to get 6 customers happy, not just Debbie happy. And I'd get phone calls from people and say, my mum's baking today, can you keep us 2 flour, 6 eggs? And then there was a point where we couldn't get any eggs, like in 6 packs, and we couldn't get pasta in the little packets.
Mm.
So what we did was we'd get the big bags of pasta and split it equally into
Mm.
food bags and sell it that way, because children wanted pasta.
Yeah, I know.
And then eggs, we would split the tray, put 6 eggs in a bag, and not in a bag, in a little cardboard tray. And people really appreciated, because we said one customer can take the 2.5 dozen tray and one customer can take the big bag of pasta.
Yeah, but then it's not fair on everybody else, is it?
No. So we then started splitting, and I felt that people really did respect us for looking after them, really,
Mm.
because they didn't want their mum standing in a queue at Sainsbury's for 45 minutes with a mask on to pick her shopping.
No. And that was the thing. The shelves were just cleared in the big supermarkets. And I think it was the small retailers that really were the backbone at that point, because they were the ones doing the things that you said, and also supporting people in the community by dropping off shopping to elderly people that the big stores weren't doing.
It was really interesting, Debbie, because when people would come into our store, they'd say, oh my God, you've got eggs, you've got pasta, you've got toilet rolls. And I said, why wouldn't we? And then I just took a walk down to Lidl, because it's half a mile away, and their shelves were empty. They had no tins of tomatoes. They had, and I was like looking around thinking, no wonder people are coming in my store, because they're happy.
Yeah, but I think they weren't putting restrictions on people, so they were literally stockpiling all this stuff and not really thinking like you, that actually it's better to limit things and share it out with everybody rather than that.
And a lot of the retailers, like, they were like, what are we going to do with this big bag of pasta? I said, get some food bags, put a glove on,
Mm.
and just split it, and whatever it's cost us, divide it between the 6 bags or the 8 bags. And they were like, oh wow, what a great idea. And I was like, and there was another retailer that was getting bread. I couldn't get bread. She couldn't get eggs, so I'd get her the egg.
It's
There
not
was,
fair.
there was a lot of, and you had to think outside the
Yeah,
box.
yeah, yeah, which clearly you did.
And
So,
then we did have elderly bungalows, sorry to finish off with, across the road, and there's probably about 40 of them
mm,
over the road, and they didn't get any visitors. So on Easter, we took them all Marks and Spencer's hot cross buns, a pack of 4 each, and we
Oh,
put them on their doorsteps, and we had a sign to say Happy Easter.
oh,
Oh, and they were so happy. And the children came in afterwards and said, thanks so much for keeping an eye on my mum, or thanks for dropping my dad's carton of milk on. And I would always say to anybody in any job, you cannot put a price on that.
no, you can't. I think you're very customer service orientated. And would you say that's the biggest thing that's probably kept you going all these years?
Yeah, I would say I always put myself in other people's shoes. So I've got a lot of
Mm.
empathy for everybody. And if somebody comes in that doesn't look happy, I'll be like, 1 minute, we don't do this in here. Who's upset you? And, you know, somebody can have a really ugly tie on, and some elderly chaps, if you like, you know, they're living on their own. They're not happy because they're bored and they've just come to buy a newspaper. And you just say, oh, how are you, sir?
Mm.
And, you know, what a lovely tie. It can be the ugliest tie. You made a conversation. My husband often looks at me and says, are you telling me that tie's? I'm like, it doesn't matter. It's got him talking.
Yeah, exactly. You might be the only person he speaks to all day.
And then we do have a few on the end of the counter that come and have tea and coffee.
Yeah, which is nice. And also, you're often that first line of contact. You know, if somebody maybe is suffering with domestic abuse or having a real problem going on, people like you can spot all of that, can't you?
Yeah, I mean, I've got to say, I can read people. I just have to look at them and say, that's that, that's that. And it's quite sad that you've got that in you now because you've been dealing with the public for so long. But I call it a skill now. I don't say it's a bad thing.
Mm.
You know, somebody's son came in and he's about 45 and he didn't look right on Sunday, but I didn't say anything. And then the dad came and I said, is he all right? And he said, no. I said, you don't have to tell me. And he did tell me, he did elaborate. And I said, right. I said, I'm glad I didn't say anything.
Mm. Yeah,
But he says, how did you notice? I says, I don't know. He just didn't look the same as he normally does.
yeah, see, so you picked up on that. So what does the next 12 months hold for you and Julie's convenience store?
So I'm looking at Deliveroo or Just Eat. So that was my one thing I wanted to do probably about November, December time, is get the app in to do deliveries
Yeah,
and then get the drivers. But if I do that, and I've held off till April because I want to see how it affects me with the minimum wage.
yeah.
So that's one thing. In July, we are looking at a full refit.
Mhm.
So yes, so once it's all, so we're working with bookers, and to
Mhm.
be fair, they've been really good coming out, getting a good shop fitter. So
Mhm.
it's new CCTV, walking through the whole shop.
Mm.
But with that, I know the booker is my group because I'm a Premier Fascia, and they've
Mhm.
been very good to me over the years. I still want another retailer. So I had Mandeep from Sheffield come to the store, look at the plans, and he's walked through it because he's done it all. And
Mm.
we're adapting, changing the plans a little bit.
Mhm.
So that's working well. So hopefully July, I should be doing a full refit.
Mm.
Then with my council hat on,
Mhm.
uh, prostate screening for men, I am promoting, but Jules Convenience is funding it.
Oh,
So, but the issue we had was that the ethnic minority are not doing it.
no.
So I've now reached out to the Ghanaian church, who
Mhm.
are going to host it there
Mhm.
on a Sunday. So they will have a presence there. And then I'm putting the posters in 5 or 6 different churches
It's a good idea.
so that you're not discriminating anybody.
Mm.
So it's for 100 men, hopefully, that get PSA tested in May. And then in April, I'm hoping with my Age UK hat on that we have a breakfast club with a quiz set up at the local pub.
Oh, that's nice.
Mm.
Oh, fantastic idea. So utilizing another local hospitality business, that's great.
Yeah, because they're quiet on a Tuesday morning. The
Yeah.
quiz master I know. So again, there's a local business that's supporting the quiz. And then the breakfast is £3, so that's been negotiated. and it's all in the process. So that's another thing. And then I have got a 50-kilometre walk in Bath to do on the 29th of March for Age UK 7 Hospice.
Wow. You'll have to send us the links to that and we'll share it. And what about the retail awards that you're doing? Talk a bit about those.
So I'm shortlisted for retailer, community retailer, and convenience store of the year.
Oh, wow.
The Convenience Awards in Manchester. So I am very busy. And then also I have been nominated for the Woman Who Awards.
Oh, amazing. I'm going to that.
Oh, wow.
Yes. At Coombe Abbey.
Yeah, I love Coombe Abbey.
Yes. Yes. So I interviewed Sandra a couple of weeks ago for the podcast, who runs that.
Yes, I saw that. I saw that.
And
Yes.
we are going to each other's awards. We just decided that I would go to hers and she will come to mine. So
Well, I found that your awards have just like opened an avenue for the retail sector, because there's that many women that are running the shops.
yeah.
And I feel, why are they putting themselves in a competition
Mm.
in the retail sector year on year when
Yeah.
there's you and the Women Who Awards, and there's other inspirational women's awards? So we should be digressing a little bit.
I absolutely agree with you. You need to be pushing yourself out there as a businesswoman to inspire the next generation of retailers. Otherwise, you're all, like you've just said, in the same pond with the same fish. And actually, as I always say this to all the businesswomen that I work with, that we have to show ourselves out there so that other girls or boys go, oh, actually, that this is inspiring. This is something I want to get involved in. So I think when we've spoken before, you've talked about the fact that the retail industry is still very male dominated.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the News Federation that I sit on, and brilliant organisation, couldn't fault it. And I do feel that gave me the best foundation, because I was the chair on the West Midlands district. But you have to fight your corner, because there's some opinionated people, but there's also people that don't want to change.
Mm.
And you come in and you can see it with a different pair of eyes, and you've got a different hunger for it. So I do feel that these organisations do get a little bit stale, if you like, and unless they get the younger blood in and make a couple of changes here and there, you're going to lose it. You're going to lose that momentum.
Yeah, definitely.
So that's one of them that I feel that quite strongly about. But I think there's a lot for retailers out there, men or women, but it's like putting yourselves out there on the forefront.
Yes. Yeah.
And my other company that I've really worked well with is Suntory, which is Lucozade. And to be fair, sitting on them round events and knowing what their latest products are, again with Coca-Cola, but with Suntory, they have charity competitions that, well, community projects, like they're called. So they have so much stock to give away before Christmas to your local community.
Oh, right. That's good.
So last year was the first year I got it, and it was second year. They gave me Orangina cans. The year before it was Orangina bottles. So then I phone the people that I network with to say, right, you've got 5 cases, you can use it in your youth club, you can use it in your women's only group, you can use it in your breakfast club. And that has really helped me reach out to other people. So last week I had 144 cases of blue Lucozade delivered.
Oh, wow. And
that has gone to football clubs, men's mental health. Again, it's that community links that people share on social media and say, oh, she supports us as well.
Yeah, exactly.
They support us as well. And that is really important with your presence, because it's all very good me giving stuff away, but I want to make sure Lucozade know that it's all gone where I would send.
Yeah, so you're saying this is what we did with it and this is who's got it, and then they'll do a post and show,
other people. But then I also had a community retailer last year. I gave him 5 cases of Orangina so he can get his network with his area. So he came in Sunday and picked up 15 cases, so he can work with his local councillor, he can work with the youth club and say, oh, by the way, I've got this, and promote his store as well, and start his journey, if you like. So, yeah, you know, I just think nobody did it for me. I had to find my way, if you like. But supporting somebody else is not really costing me anything.
That's what I love about you. I think you're a great example of a really caring, proactive female entrepreneur. And we all need more Julies in this world. So thank you for joining me today. Good luck with your 50-mile walk. Goodness me,
50 kilometres. So yes, it's just over a
kilometres.
marathon.
Still a long way.
Okay. Right, no, thank you. Appreciate your time.
Yes, and we will make sure there's some links in the show notes. And if you're watching on YouTube, we shall put them into the description so you can see more about what Julie's up to in lovely Telford. And if you're in Telford, pop in.
Please do.
Get your mints, get your milk, get all your bits and pieces.
Thank you.
Thanks, Julie.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.